Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Dawn. Welcome back to my channel. So I want to talk a little bit about my appointment yesterday. I briefly gave a description the other day, a few days ago, that I'm going to be seeing my psychiatrist again because I saw him. He was the one who diagnosed me for ADHD, so I could literally just go and see him whenever I wanted to. So I made an appointment, I went to see him, and initially we started talking about my ADHD because I hadn't had a follow-up since, a year and a half ago basically, since I'd been on the medication, and I always kind of felt like I should go back and see him, but I never actually really did that until I thought maybe I have autism as well. So I took my partner along with me. I did not sleep that well the night before. I was kind of feeling anxious about it for some reason, and yeah, the next day I was feeling kind of felt unwell, like my stomach felt really unwell, and yeah, it wasn't so fun. But anyway, that being said, I had a really great chat with him and my partner as well. I think it's really important if you have a partner to take them along to these sort of things because they can help you out. They have a different perspective on things as well. And sometimes when I can't think of what to say, I'll just look at him and he just like fills in what I was going to say pretty much, or experiences I've been going through, and he just gives a different perspective, I guess. So we first started talking about my ADHD and how things have changed for me, how it's working for me. He asked me a bunch of questions about how things were going and I answered them honestly, and then it was really interesting thinking about it because I hadn't thought about how I used to be in quite some time, and actually before I got diagnosed and was treated for ADHD, my life was a complete mess. I was struggling a lot internally, and then got diagnosed with ADHD, went on these meds, changed everything for me. So what we discussed was that maybe it would be a good idea to try the next dose up. So I take 25 milligrams. I was very happy with that dose. 30 milligrams was a bit too much for me, but that was a long time ago, and I'd only been on the 25 for say like a month before I switched over, and my body could have gotten a lot more used to the medication, so moving up to 30 might not be a huge problem. So he suggested that I do that. I go and, if I want to, because I was quite unsure about it because I did not want to feel like the way I did. Felt very tired, very out of it, and I just could not work. Like, it was so difficult for me. Like, I'd almost rather have had ADHD than feel like that all day. So I said that I will think about it, and me and my partner have been talking about it, and I think I probably am going to do it, but I'm going to do it when I've got a week off work. So in a month's time, I think I've got a week off work where I can just be at home all the time and not have to worry about being at work for 12 hours a day feeling like that. And maybe I won't feel like that, maybe it won't be so bad, we'll see. So he's put me down for that if I want that. And then we started talking about ASD, which is also known as Autism Spectrum Disorder. He said I'm probably on the Asperger's end of it, and I'm very conscious because there's a lorry pulling up behind me. I don't know why, I just feel really awkward about these kind of things. And then basically what happened is that he basically had already started talking about autism with me before I'd even really fully got into it, and he was saying, oh, that sounds like an autism trait, and basically what can happen is when you've got ADHD and you're treated for it, it can actually get to a point where the ADHD is also almost like covering up some of the autism symptoms. Sorry, not symptoms, traits. I don't want to say symptoms because they're not symptoms. So they're covering up some of the traits of autism. And then, so that was interesting. And he's seen a lot of people who have ADHD also have autism, and it shows a lot more after they've been treated for ADHD. So I was like, okay, that is very interesting. And my partner mentioned a few things that we've spoken about things that I consider reasons why I have autism, including, I think I already spoke about social things. I spoke about how I always go anywhere with earphones in, play music in my ears, like supermarkets and things like that, because the light and sound bothers me a lot, and having that music playing in my ear just sort of distracts me from that and takes me away from that, so that's really nice. I spoke about how I'm uncomfortable around people, and my partner also mentioned about how I get obsessed with one thing, like how at the moment I'm absolutely obsessed with learning about autism. in particular mild autism like Asperger's that I believe I have. And yeah, we were just talking about how I will be so interested in one thing and obsessed with it that I can't do anything else, and my partner will be like, oh, should we watch something tonight? And then I'm like, yeah, okay. And then later on in the day I'm really so involved in something that I'm just like, do you mind if I just carry on doing this? And he's always like, yeah, that's fine, because he really likes to play games and do his own thing as well, so it works for our relationship. Sorry, but I think for some relationships that would be a problem. So I know I'm very lucky in those regards. But he's saying that it is kind of a problem because I'm not living as balanced a life as I could, and I'm ignoring things like chores and things like responsibilities, things that I have to do because I just want to do this, learn more and more and more about it all the time. And I'm finding all these amazing YouTube accounts, and it's like absolutely, I know, it's just absolutely amazing. So I just love learning about it. I guess it's because I'm learning about myself a lot more. It's like finally after all these years, like I can find people I can fully like properly relate to. And then so basically he was saying, I'm not saying you have it, but he was talking about like getting diagnosed, the process and everything, and how it takes a very long time to get diagnosed. He said that I think he was just, I don't think he can diagnose people, to be honest. I feel like what he was saying is that he can help people with autism, but he just doesn't think, he was just saying like, I've really got to think about whether I want to get diagnosed or not, because sometimes it can do, he didn't say more harm than good, but that's what I took from what he was saying in terms of like employment and stuff like that. And I was saying like, I'm very happy, I'm like, the job that I'm in, my employers are very good with that kind of thing, so I don't feel like that would ever be an issue at my current employment, and I don't feel like I'd always have to disclose it. I don't think it's something you always have to tell people unless you feel like you really want to. Obviously if you want to, then it's totally a good thing to disclose. It can help you and have many benefits in doing so, including like reducing stigma, which is why like I wanted to talk about it on YouTube a lot more as well. And then what else? Yeah, so he was saying that he'll look at my AQ10 score, which I filled in when I first went to see him, which is like an autism, it's like you've got to get like 6 out of 10 to like be considered that you might have autism, and then you can go through like a lengthy diagnostic process. And I was just like, okay, I think I got a 4 out of 10 on that score. And the reason I think that I got so low was because I didn't realise how much of a struggle I have with social situations. Like I always knew, but I always thought maybe that's to do with ADHD or something else. And also I had in my head that autism was like this really awful thing that not awful thing, but like this thing that needed a lot of like, somebody needed a lot of support basically. Like I have 2 cousins who are autistic, and one of them needs full-time support and the other needs a little bit of support as well. So it was not sort of like something that I considered that I would ever have. And so I was just like, I don't think I've got this at all. And so I was basing my answers on that as well, I think, as well. But learning about autism and Asperger's, I never know how to say it probably, learning about them has taught me a lot. A lot. And so he is going to send me 2 forms that I can fill out based on how I feel now. Well, his secretary will do that. I haven't got them yet. And he is going to, and then I'll just send them back, basically, and then we'll see from there. And he's just really wants me to think about it, the pros and cons of like getting diagnosed and all of that sort of thing. He said there's not a lot of support that I could get if I do have it, so that's one of the reasons why he thinks that it might not be necessary. But for me, it's really important for my identity, I guess. And just knowing, and just because I'm so obsessed with this topic right now, and I think I probably always will be. So yeah, for me it's really important. So leaving the appointment, I realised that it was okay. Like at first, when he was talking about some things, I felt like crying because I was just like, this is not what I wanted to be here about. I do not want to think about it. I know I want to do it, all this sort of thing. But leaving the appointment, I realised that I had some kind of relief in me, he didn't invalidate me. He thought a lot of the traits that I have are autistic traits, and he did make me think, and he gave me a lot of good advice. Like, he told me to go for mindfulness classes, which I'm going to do. He also told me to go for a walk every single day, like even if I've worked 12-hour shift, just go and stop somewhere, walk for 10 minutes and then go home, like on my way home or something. And I'm totally going to do that as well. He gave me some really good advice as well, so that was really good. And then yeah, I just realized it was okay to self-diagnose myself, and I'd always put a disclaimer with self-diagnosis and be like, you know, I am self-diagnosed. I don't recommend self-diagnosing, but it's all I can do right now because I'm waiting a long time to be diagnosed, things like that. And I think that's okay for me to do. And since self-diagnosing myself and talking to people who have Asperger's and autism, like that, I am only self-diagnosed right now, nobody has cared. Everybody's been like great about it, whereas what I've seen sort of like in the ADHD community, or I know in other things, people have kind of been like, but how do you know that you've got this? Like, how can you just self-diagnose yourself? You need a proper diagnosis. But with autism, it seems to be a bit different. And I think a lot of that has got to do with how I know that I am a different kind of person. I know I see the world differently, and I know I always have been like that. So that was really what I'm basing that on. So as always, like if I ever make a video about it, I'm just gonna be like, I'm self-diagnosed right now, etc, just because I think it's important to let people know that you're not actually fully diagnosed. But having the confirmation from my psychiatrist was really great. It's just, yeah, properly made me feel like it is okay for me to do that right now, and I'm okay where I am at right now. I don't need to be diagnosed straight away. Like, I thought I'd go to an appointment, maybe have another and get diagnosed, and that would be it. And I realise there's a lot more to it than that, and I'm totally fine with that right now. One little thing that I wanted to share is that I am sitting in my new car. It is a Fiat 500, and I'm so happy to have a Fiat 500 back in my life. Basically, my partner got in an accident in my car, which sounds kind of, I don't know what it sounds like, but basically he went to get me petrol and somebody else didn't stop at a give way sign and carried on and just went straight into my car. It did like a 180 turn, it got a huge dent in the side of it, and it's been written off. So it was a very stressful time for me. My partner was absolutely fine. He is very calm as a person. He wasn't even like afraid or anything like that. He was absolutely fine. Me, however, I was in pieces. I was very upset. My car is like my second home. I sit in it on breaks at work to avoid people, and then, or just to get some time alone. Basically, it's not really the avoidance of people, just to get some time like away from that environment of like fluorescent lighting and noise, and I just feel so much calmer being alone. And this story is related to autism. So basically, I was really upset, and then I got a hire car, and I was really upset that the hire car was a Corsa and it was a lot bigger than my car. I didn't feel safe driving it completely, to be honest. I felt quite uncomfortable driving it. I felt like I could drive it safely, but there was a few incidences where the car ended up curb crawling a little bit, and I just didn't feel comfortable in it. I didn't feel comfortable parking it. It was a lot bigger than my car. Like, I know Corsas aren't like huge cars, but it's a new Corsa, and I'm used to driving this little tiny car, so you can imagine it was really hard for me. And I'm like telling people it's too big, and people are laughing at me like, it's not a big car. And I'm like, no, it's not a big car, but it's bigger than what I'm used to. It's like, I don't know, 1.5 times the size of my car, perhaps. I drive like a little 4-seater. And then what happened was, so yeah, I had to drive this Corsa and it was white, and I hate white cars. No offense to anyone who likes them. They get so muddy, and it's just not my colour. I was used to driving a red Fiat 500, and it was my baby, and I adored it so much. So to see it like that, it was really upsetting to me. And then what happened was, we were looking online for another one. So basically, my car got taken into storage just before Christmas, and it was like 2 weeks before I find out anything. It was really bad. And then I found out that I probably couldn't afford the same car again, because the people who did my insurance, well, their guy's insurance, actually the girl who crashed into my boyfriend into my car wasn't even insured. She was meant to be on her dad's insurance, but she wasn't actually insured. She was just driving his car around. Like, it was actually a really old car, so it was like a write-off straight away. It was in, like, the whole front was really damaged, but she wasn't even insured, so they're going to have to be taken to court and have to pay the money that they paid me from their insurance, basically. And maybe the girl can't even drive anymore, I don't know, but that's seriously bad, just to go over a give way sign. Like, it's just going over a crossing when you're meant to stop. And so so they gave me about £2,000 less than I paid for the car a year and a half ago. Unfortunately, the same car that I wanted, a red car, 2014 Fiat 500, cost at least £4,500 to £5,000 to buy again. And, like, bearing in mind I'm still paying my finance on that for another probably like 3.5 years. So I was very upset because I could not buy the same car again. I thought I'll just be able to buy the same one and that would be it, it would be done. They were basing it on white Fiat 500s that I could buy, and I did not want a white car. Like, I was very much against having a white car. Like, no way would I ever be driving a white car, just because I don't like them, and it's really hard for someone to understand. It's irrational, but it's just the way that I am. And so I went and looked some more, and we found a blue one, and I came to terms that I would have to get a blue one. In fact, I really came to terms with it, and I was like, actually, I want this car now. So we're going from, like, really wanting this only car to going to wanting a blue car. And then my partner rang up the night before we were going to go and see it, and he checked it online, and it had gone, like, someone had purchased this car, and I was so upset. I was like, no. And so now I have a car that's from 2013. It's the sports edition, so in some ways it's really good. Like, I can attach my phone to it through USB and listen to Spotify, so I really need to focus on, like, the positives of it. But there's some issues with it. Like, it's got really bad, like, musky smell in here, and I don't know how to get rid of that. It's really bothering me. It makes me feel a bit nauseous. I think it might be to do with aircon or the seats or something, so I'm gonna have to get something sorted about that. There's a few, like, scratches and stuff on it, and there's, like, some marks on the back. Oh my god, seatbelt. And so, yeah, there's just some things about it that I don't like, and it's... Okay, there's some more scratches here. Okay. But basically, the point of this whole story is that every time that I wasn't going to get the one that I wanted, I was getting upset, and that's like having a tantrum, right? Like, getting upset about it. But it wasn't a tantrum. It was like I was just actually could not control my feelings upset about this, and it was totally irrational. But there was nothing that I could do to make myself feel better rather than cry quite a bit and then get over it and then move on from that. And yeah, so I had to get this red car that is older, that is not worth as much money. Like, it didn't cost... It's not the same car that I had, basically, so it would be worth less money. But my partner, thankfully, paid, like, the extra £300 or something, so whatever it was, to be able to get this car. And so my car was in an accident. It had nothing to do with me, and I lose out. Like, it just... I'm not, like, blaming my partner at all, but it's just really frustrating. This whole month or so where I've been dealing with this has been really hard for me to deal with, and the constant changing and needing to get used to something, and I don't like change, apparently. When I had ADHD, like, I liked change quite a lot. I wanted a lot of change, but now that's not there. I like routine, and I don't want things to change, and it's very odd for me because I'm like, this is totally irrational. Why am I feeling like this? And that's what's been going on, basically, and that's one of the reasons, like, that's like a huge example to me of why I have autism and why I've moved on, how, like, I didn't notice it beforehand, and why I probably would have dismissed it beforehand. So yeah, it's very interesting. I'm just learning more about myself every single day. Can't stop thinking about it, like it's constantly going on in my head, but I'm okay with that. It's just the way I am. It's just part of my autism, actually. So yeah, I decided that I would call myself a self-diagnosed Aspie because I really like that word. I've seen a lot of people like on Instagram and stuff using that word. I was never expecting this video to be this long. I thought it would be about 10 minutes. They always go on and on and on because I have so much to say, and I could just talk for an hour about this, but my throat's getting a bit dry right now. And I'm going to visit some family today because it's my birthday next week and they want to give me presents and see me. Oh wow, there's a rainbow. Okay. I love rainbows so much. But I just wanted to update you guys on that and share what happened. Basically, I had a really lovely message from somebody afterwards last night that I responded to last night, and she was the first person that I talked to her about this. And I just want to say that through making these videos and through Instagram as well as YouTube, I guess, I've made some really amazing connections with people who are like me. I've helped people realise that they have ADHD, and my aim is to help people to realise that they might be an Aspie as well, pretty much. So that's why I'm doing this, that's why I'm on this channel doing this, sharing these things I'm really interested in about, for self-awareness basically for other people. And I want to make more videos that along my journey, like the things that I learned to not cope with but actually put things into place to help me, and I want to share those sort of things as well, so I'll be doing that. I also have another channel that I really have a lot of ideas for, and I'm writing some scripts to make some videos on that. It's more my creative side, like my side that's a bit more connected to nature and things, share some of the things I really enjoy. So this is just like my talkie channel, so if you want to follow that channel, I'll leave a link down below. There will be some more videos coming soon. I'm going to make another one next week, so please stay tuned for that and subscribe to that channel if you want to. I'll leave a link down below. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody who reached out to me, who leaves me comments, who message me on Instagram and just shares like I feel the same. Just hearing those words is like, it's just incredible, because I didn't know anybody else was like me. I just thought it was just me, and I don't know, it's just so strange to me that there's a reason why I am the way I am. And I know, okay, I am the same person. I know it's just the diagnosis, and I don't know, there's a part of me that's just like, you don't need that diagnosis, you don't need to have anything to do with it and stuff, but the way that it's helped me, I feel like I do need to know these things about myself for self-awareness and personal growth and things like that. So I'm gonna go now because it's running quite late, but yes, bye.